Okay, so I've shared my screen with you. This is going to be an overview of Leadstreet. And in order to get to Leadstreet, we have to go through Max Tech. So all of you are aware of that website, maxtech.me. And you'll have your login. If it's not already pre-saved, you'll go ahead and log in. This is your dashboard. Okay, it'll look very similar to this. And then you'll go ahead and into apps. And this is where you'll access Leadstreet. You'll click on this blue button down here that says See All Apps. So let's go ahead and click that blue button, See All Apps. And you'll scroll down and you'll see Leadstreet in here, which will be under CRM, because those are all the different CRMs. And you'll go ahead and you'll click on Leadstreet. It'll open up a new window. It should already pre-log you in, so you won't have to worry about adding a login in there. And for our purposes, I'm going to be in a specific, under one of our realtors, so that way you can kind of see it from an agent's perspective rather than an admin perspective. But we'll go over your profile. We'll go over a couple of different things as well, what each tab does and why this is useful, right? Why is Leadstreet useful? I would say right now, the biggest thing is if you don't have right now like a client database or a management system where you store all your contacts, like their emails, their birthdays, their purchase anniversary dates for the home, you can use Leadstreet because it's free and it's available for you at no cost. So we'll get into that a little bit further, but that's one of the nice things you can use for Leadstreet is you can have it as a CRM database for your clients. So when you go into your Leadstreet, this is your dashboard. This is what it'll look like. We've got a bunch of different buttons, a bunch of different tabs. If you go over here, we're going to start at the left and work our way all the way to the right, okay? So we'll start at the left and we have My Dashboard. And this will tell you how many leads have been generated, how many leads you might have missed, how many listings you have, how many new contacts have been inputted into the system, either by you manually or through the leads that came in through Leadstreet or Megaphone leads. If you scroll down, you'll see these links right here, the buy side link. If you're using buy side, a quick shortcut to accessing the Remax balloon picture, which I usually get a lot of questions on, where is the Remax logos? Tech support, weekly tech tips, a shortcut for cloud CMA, and then a shortcut for your website, which we're going to do an overview of, but we're not going to go into too much detail in this session. And if you keep scrolling down, it'll give you like the past couple of leads, your listings. It's an overview, like a dashboard, you know, if you will. So, and there's all these reports that you can click on to see how many leads have you generated, how many leads did you miss, what type of activity is on your new listings, your site traffic for your website, where the people are coming from. So that's what's on your dashboard. So now we're going to scroll up. And the first tab we're going to tackle is called Leads. So you're going to click on Leads and you're going to click Settings. And under Lead Settings, we have a couple of different things. We have these boxes, which are going to be empty if you haven't filled them in. But this is where you can put the zip codes where you want those leads specifically to come from. So to increase the chances of getting the leads in one location, you can copy and paste that zip code more than once, say the zip code 48837 for Grand Ledge, and you can put that in say 5 of the boxes, right? Because you've got 10 boxes that you can use. So that's where you would put all of the zip codes. And you want to make sure that's one of the first things that you do. It will not be pre-filled in for you. If you haven't used Leadstreet in a while, or if you're new, or if you're working for a team, just make sure that's filled in for each person, each member in your Leadstreet. The rest of this is preset as a default. You don't need to worry about it. It's just talking about if someone goes to your website, when will they get a pop-up that wants them to log in? That's preset. But the most important thing I wanted to stress is these zip codes that are really important. That's how you get the leads, is to pick zip codes. Okay. All right. So that's what's in leads. When you click manage under leads, that's where you'll get all of these lists. It'll tell you what lead you've missed. It'll have these different icons on here. It'll tell you when the lead came in. It'll tell you their first name and their last name. So that's the overview of the leads tab. Now we're going to go to the next one, which is the tab for listings. And this is a list of all your listings in pending or currently active, if you have any coming soon. And then what happens is, now how do we see the details of this listing? How do we see the photos? How do we see reports and activity from the MLS on these leads, on these listings? We have to click each one individually. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and click on this address. And we're going to go deeper into look at more of the details for that specific property. So when you click on one of your listings, it'll tell you what the current price is. All of this is fed through the IDX for Flex, okay? So keep that in mind. The IDX kind of takes precedence over Leadstreet. So I emphasize that because I've had some agents where they'll add photos to a listing in Leadstreet, and it gets, it's override because you want to add those photos in Flex, which will then add it to Leadstreet, not the other way around. So going back to saying this listing, it tells you the current price. It's pulling everything from Flex. And this link right here in this box is really nice because if you click on it, it's a web link directly talking about the details of that listing, which you might want to send that link, say, to your sellers. So if your sellers ever asked, hey, is there a website where like a web page that's just my listing, you can send that link to them and show them. So up here on the left, so this is like the dashboard, right? So it's got your comments on here. It's got if there's any open houses on here, where's the listing going? We do have a graph that we've created to show you that you can send to sellers that we've posted as well for you and emailed you where it says where all your listings go. This is also where it'll tell you where all the listings go in case they ever ask you, hey, where is my listing going? What third-party websites? This is also a nice list that Remax has updated. So now you can see on the left-hand side, we have all of these tabs here, right? We've got the details, photos, and floor plans. Again, this pulls directly from Flex, the IDX feed. Tours. Do you have a virtual tour? It'll be blank if there's no virtual tour in Flex. Remember, it's all pulling from the Flex IDX feed. So if you have a virtual tour set up, it'll pull it into Leadstreet and it'll appear right in this box right here. If you have a separate one, like an additional one that's not in Flex, you can copy and paste the link in these boxes as well, like YouTube. Then we can go to the next one, which is views. And this one I don't use too often, but if you wanted to see, say, how many views on a particular listing over the course of the month, over the course of a week, you would click just this little calendar and you can set up the dates and kind of run like a quick report for yourself or for the agent you're working with. But what I find very important, and the main reason I'm going through these listings, is because this over here that says reports, you can actually send the seller an online report that'll show them current activity on their listing. And to me, that's the most important, is you can add the client's email and they will automatically be emailed this graph or this chart that has the previous activity on their listing. So that way, if they're asking you, hey, where's the proof? Then you can show them. You can also send a copy to yourself. And what I wanted to show you was the online seller report. if anything else, that's very important about Leadstreet. It's a very cool feature, and it's absolutely really nice to show your sellers this report. So, and you can see other options in here too. So we've talked about the photos, the floor plans, the 3D virtual tours, the location, flyers. Go ahead and ignore where it says Design Center, because that's going to be gone June, I believe it's June 30th. And so that's being replaced with Megaphone. And I know there's a lot of questions about Megaphone. Me and Debbie have done several training on Megaphone. I will be doing several Zoom trainings on Megaphone with a screenshot, so we can, you can follow along. We'll start that in about 2-3 weeks after Memorial Day, when everybody's back from vacation, and we'll go ahead and we'll do Megaphone. I'll go real slow, so that way you can see all of the content. It's similar to Design Center, but that way you understand that that's where your listing marketing content will come from. So just ignore Design Center since that's going away. Now back to reports. This is what I wanted to show you. It's called the Online Seller Report. And this is great because this is where you would add the contact of your seller. If you have more than one seller, 3 or 4 people, that's fine. You can go ahead and add them. You'll add their emails. You can change the subject line, or you can just keep it to where it's at. And then right down here, it says, send me a copy of the Online Seller Report. So if you click on it, it will then send it to your email as well. And over here, it says, how often do you want them to receive that Online Seller Report? So you can choose in the drop down every week. It just, I mean, it really is going to depend how, does your seller like stats? Do they want to see it every week, or are they fine with maybe like once a month, every 4 weeks? So you can also do this. When do you want the report to stop and you don't want them to no longer be emailed? Is that when it's pending? Or is that when the listing is actually closed and been processed in the Flex IDX? And then what you'll do is you'll click Save. So make sure that after you type in their contact, you've selected which email frequency you'd like them to receive. You do need to hit Save, and then you're all set. And then give it a day, at least 24 hours, and Leadstreet will send out an email to you and to the seller, if that's what you've chosen. Now, do you want to see what it looks like? Here's an example. It'll be branded just like this, okay? With your name, your photo, your contact information, and it'll have listing traffic. So obviously the 17th was Monday. It'll tell you about the search traffic for last week, last month, and then since it was listed from the listing date. So we can see detailed views. Now, let me tell you the difference. Detailed views is somebody who actually clicked on the listing, okay, to see the details of that view. Results is more of an impression. Impressions are every time they do like a wide search, it'll be in the list. It doesn't mean they clicked on that specific listing, but it showed up in the list somewhere, maybe page 5, maybe page 10. So that's the difference between results and details. So this is definitely a very popular listing because we have 648 people last week who actually clicked specifically on this listing to see the photos or to watch the tour or, whatever. And then it will also show them nearby properties, the market summary, what it looks like currently right now. And if you just scroll down, you can kind of see the overall of what the email and the report will generate for that seller. Unfortunately, you're not able to really cut and paste. It's either all or nothing. So that's kind of the downfall. Like they're going to get everything, so if there's a part of this that you don't want them to see, then don't send an online seller report. So then the next thing we talked about in here was the Design Center, which I went over will be replaced with Megaphone. So that's all you need to know really about the listings. Okay. The next tab we're going to tackle here is called Clients. And this is the client database, right? This is where you'll add your clients. So if you click contact list, it'll show you first names, last names, emails, phone numbers, either what Leadstreet has put in from the leads or what you've manually uploaded, either from an Excel spreadsheet or you actually went into the system and you clicked on create contact to actually create that content as well. So if you don't have anybody in there, I would go ahead and suggest adding your family to start with, adding my email or adding Debbie's email, just so you have some email in there to get started so you can see how it's done. And you would click create contact. And when you create contact, this is where you can put the first name, the last name, their email, if you have their address, their home anniversary, okay, the purchase date, their birthdays. If you're interested in sending out like birthday emails, you can do that, or you want to send them a gift and you need to know their home anniversary. So next year you can come back and take a look on when that was. If they have a spouse or a partner, you can put in the second contact's first name and last name and their email, their cell phone or their landline. You can also put in their birthday. All of it's optional. Okay. And then you would click this blue button here that says add contact info. When you scroll down, you can see that there's more options here. So there's client status. Is this currently an active client? Are you working on an offer with this client? Is this a buyer or is this a seller? This is optional. You don't have to put this in there. You can really just put the first name, last name, and email. And that's all you have to put. You don't have to go into such detail. They have this for those who want to really be detailed and go into this. But I'm just showing you what your options are for the clients. Now, when you click on groups down here, groups mean you're going to compile a bunch of contacts into a group, and then maybe you want to take that group and add it to an email newsletter or an action plan. So that's what's kind of nice about that. If you'll see here, Leadstreet has created groups already for you. So like when you have web clients who come in, it'll keep track of your leads, the new leads you've captured. And then if you've manually entered them, they're not going to be into a group. You can create a group, say 2020 leads, or whatever you want to do. If you're manually adding them, you can say leads who live in Bath schools, however you want to do that. And then you would just create a group. And like I said, the usefulness and the purpose of groups is because when you go to the next tab, it says action plans. So when you send out an email, and let's say you don't want to add an individual one at a time, you can just click the group and it'll add all 100 or however many people are in that group, like 100 people in that group, and send it out to them instantly without adding them one at a time. So that brings us to the marketing. This is a great tab as well to use for the action plans. These are pre-created like action plans for you. And you can see we've got a couple here. You can create ones if you want to do one yourself. When you want to add photo, you want to add content, you can create new action plan. You don't have to use the ones that are in here. But you can see there's ones for holidays, home anniversary, new client, new listing action plan. You just have to click on it and it'll show you an example of what it looks like, what the wording is. And you can edit all that. You can change all that. So we're going to click on monthly newsletter just to show you an example. And when you click on it, it'll show you, okay, over the course of a year for this action plan, for this drip, we've got 12 emails. We're going to send out one for each month. And it tells you over here with date when it sends it out. So the first one goes out January 7th. So if you're adding a client in the middle, it'll go wherever the next date is. So in this case, the next one would go out on June 7th if you're putting one in today. And then if you click on it, let's click on one. It'll show you this is the photo that it'll be. This is the header. This is the content. This coding right here, you don't need to change that. Leadstreet's already created that. So that's where the person's first name will go in. So Joe or Janie will be, hi, Janie, hi, Joe. So that's just coding in there. So you don't need to worry about that or freak out about that. That's what that is. This is the photo that they'll see. This is the content that they'll see. The bullets all in here. This is everything that will go out. And you can send a copy to yourself as well by putting your email and adding it as a contact in your client list. And then it'll have your branding at the bottom. with your photo, assuming you've uploaded your photo to Leadstreet. So that's an example. And if you click the next one, you'll see the same thing, same photos. This is what it'll look like for them when they receive this once a month. Now, how do we add them? So at the bottom here, you'll scroll down, and down here is a little tiny button. It says add contacts and add groups. So if you click on that, it'll say, okay, go ahead and add a contact. And you'll just start typing in a contact and it'll appear right in there. And see, we can do that just start typing someone in, and we've got a drop down of a bunch of people. And that's when you would just add them in there. And you don't need to click save. You don't need to click submit. Once you click add contacts, it's instant. So if I was to add someone right now, they would automatically be set up. June 7th, they would receive their first monthly newsletter. So, which is kind of nice. So that's what action plans are. We don't need to worry about the other two, as all of our content marketing will be replaced with Megaphone. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and go to the next tab called email. If you click new, this will create a brand new, like you can compose a new email. It's not a template. It's just a quick email. Not a lot of realtors I know use it, but it is there if you need it. What they do use is email marketing. Email marketing is really nice because it's pre-created templates, drip campaigns. We're going to look at stock templates in this case. Okay. Stock templates are templates that have already been created for you. They already have the photo in there. They already have the content in there. If you don't want to do anything, the stuff's already in there for you. If you want to add and change a photo because you don't like the photo, you can do that as well using Remax stock photos, or you can go to Google, wherever you want to go. So we've got birthday stock templates, and you can see these are the ones that we've got. We've got blank ones. If we wanted to create our own, you would just click blank. We've got some templates just made for buyers, just made for sellers. We've got one for holidays, like here's one for Memorial Day weekend coming up. Home anniversaries, newsletters. If you're like, well, actually, I'd want to create my own newsletter. Well, then you can come on in here and change all of this information, or click the blank one and create your own newsletter. Just depends on how much time you have or how much time you want to really devote to that. Or an open house flyer, an open house email flyer. You can do that here, saying thank you, and then ones for the sellers. And then let me click on one and I'll give you an idea of what they look like. So here's what it would say, the subject line. This is what, if you don't change anything, this is what it will say. Okay, and then we've got a photo. Hi, again, you see the coding here, which is where the person's name will appear. You'll see a coding down here as well. This is where your email will go. And this is more coding. This is where your first name will appear. Underneath this bar, this line, is where your branding will go. All of the templates are very similar. They all have the same layout, okay? The only difference is the content and the photo. So if you wanted to change something, you can click over here on the left-hand side where it says subject, and you can change this to whatever you want. Image, this is where you would click image, and Remax stock photos would appear, and you can change the image. Salutation, if you don't want to say hi and you want to say good morning or good afternoon or however you want to do it. And then the message text, you can change this, right? You do not need to use everything they have in here. You can, we can delete a paragraph just like that, right? We can space it out a couple of spaces. We can change the color, however we want to do it. We can make it bold, however we want to do it. But we can change all that, which is nice. And then you would click save. You do need to make sure you click save. Otherwise, it won't save any of your changes. If you click send, that will allow you to send it to yourself to see a preview. So what I like to do is if I'm creating an email campaign, I usually like to send it to myself first before I send it to everybody else, just to make sure that the spelling's correct, and grammar, and that it looks good, everything's in place, and you can click send it to yourself. And then if it looks good, then go ahead and you can click send again and click on your groups or your contacts, and then you can go ahead and send it to them. But definitely make sure that you click save. So again, that's under email, and you'd go to email marketing, and it gives you all of these really nice stock templates. And I was just showing you one of many. This is all from Remax, and it's really nice that they give you all of these options as well in here. Now, the next one we're going to skip, it's really as easy and basic as it says. It's just a calendar. If you want to use a digital calendar, if you don't use one on your phone, you can use one in Leadstreet. That's really all it is. The next one, which I will go into detail in several months about training, is your website. If you have a third-party website, you probably won't use Leadstreet's website. If you know anything about the Leadstreet website, it is a free website, and it's for anybody. Even if you don't use it, you have one and it's live on the internet. Regardless if you even know it exists, it exists. Now, if you haven't done anything with it, it's going to look just like everybody else. So you have to, if you want to change it up, you actually have to go into Leadstreet, into what they call Site Builder right here, and change the layout, change the template, change the colors, change the font, change the photos, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on View Website, and we're using Cindy's as an example, and hers doesn't look like anybody else because we've gone in and we've made changes to it. And you can see we have a different template, different layout, but everything's the same where it's got the branding at the bottom. And if we scroll up, we can see this is the search bar, just like all the other pages where you can search the MLS or a listing. Up here, we have social media links at the top right. And then in the middle, we've got the Remax logo and her name. Now, when we go to Site Builder Collections, this is where if you have a little bit of time, or you have a team website, or just a personal website, you can go ahead and select a template. We're not going to go through this in detail because this is another training, but I just want to show you that these are all the different options and all the different templates. Like I said, if you don't change it, or if you've never gone in here to change it, it's going to look like everybody else. So it's not going to be any of these other ones because you haven't gone in and changed it. But you can see, you can click on these different templates and it'll preview and show you. If we go into collections again, there's something here called Editor. This allows you to edit pages. You can remove pages. You can edit the home page. You can change colors. You can change fonts. And this will guide you through the steps of changing photos, changing the action plans, changing the bio if you want to add a little bit of bio about yourself. And this is all under the editor right here. And it's all visual. Some of it's user friendly, some of it's not. If you have questions, I am the person that you would email or you would contact. I have Julie's old email, which is the reposoffice@gmail.com. So you would contact me and I can walk you through it. If you're having issues, I can log in under you and see what the issues are that are causing the the website issues and try to help you with that. So definitely contact me if you have questions about that. There's other things in the website. You can look at images, interior pages, what some of the pages look like. You can create your own pages. If you haven't done this before, it can be very intimidating. That's why I said to reach out to me and I can help you. I've done this many times for realtors and I can go through it with you. I can help you with the SEO, which is search engine optimization, getting specific words and sentences in there for Google to pick up. Okay, that's why it's important to work on your website. If nothing else, adding those phrases, if you will, so Google will pick them up. So you're at page 5 instead of page 25, for instance. So we can do that. That's what that's allowing you for, is adding pages, removing pages. The other thing I wanted to show you is called search. Search is if you create your own searches. So on a map. So for instance, when you go to a website or like the Remax.com website, there'll be a map there with searches. You can actually pre-create searches for your clients. So when they go to their website, you already have a map that outlines all the homes in East Lansing schools, for instance, if you want something like that. Or you can create a search that shows on a map of all the homes in Greater Lansing under $100,000, or only homes that are 3 bedrooms. Or if you want to create a map boundary of only condos, or only vacant land or only commercial business. You can do any of that, but you have to create it first. So some agents like to have that ability so that the user isn't going in and having to toggle the buttons to try to figure out, okay, I just want to look at DeWitt schools and under 100,000. You know, you can create a search and then put that link on your website. That's what I'm getting at. So when you click on that, you'll see that we've created some searches in here, like waterfront property, homes that are priced between 110 and 150,000 in Greater Lansing. And you can see we've created some as well, homes only in a specific school district. Now, in order to do that, you would click up here, which is create my saved search. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I do want to show you what it looks like when you create a saved search for a map. This is a new tab, right? So it'll open up in here. And we'll go ahead and you would create the search. You can see there's drop downs right here, price, size, year built, if you just want to create one on waterfront or open houses. If we go here, we can say we want everything selected for our search. We want the user to be able to see commercials, rentals, multifamilies, residential, and we only want them to see for sale. We don't want them to see solds or pending. You can have that option as well. Price, if you don't want them to see anything, say that's over, $300,000, you can create that search up here. When you go to more, this is more of an advanced search. You can create a search where if they're just looking for certain acreage, or if you want to do it by city, you can do by school district. If you just want to create a search that's only Langsburg schools, only Lansing schools, or you can do by zip code. So some people use school district, some people use zip code. You can do both. There is not a specific set number of searches. You can create an unlimited amount of saved searches and add all those links to your website. You could create like 10 of these searches on your map and then add those 10 links to your website. It's all up to you how much time and effort you want to put into it. And then you would submit search and it would create that search for you. And then you'd click save right here and it will go ahead and save that search as well. So you click submit and then click save. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you is this is what it'll look like to them, is it'll have like all of those homes shown in a specific area when we do create something like in here. And that's the little boundary that we've created that search for. If you don't have to create any of these searches and it'll just pop up all homes of all prices, of all bedrooms and bathrooms and all sizes and all square feet, all acreage, all in one place. I'm just saying if there's something that you wanted to try and narrow down for your user, you can. You don't need to worry about the rest of these as they're not too popular. You don't want to mess with domain. That's something that Remax of Michigan Tech Support will do for you. And what I mean by that is a lot of times a realtor will have a domain name that they've given themselves, like joesmithrealtor.com. and he wants to connect it to his Leadstreet website. You need to reach out to Remax of Michigan Tech Support. That's not something that Debbie or I have access to, but the tech support over Remax of Michigan will do that. So, or if you're thinking of getting a domain name, then you would go ahead and you would email tech support. We do have their contact. We can give that to you. And they're the ones that will connect the two. Don't do it yourself because it can kind of mess it up. So if you don't have a domain name, you will be your name and then it'll be remax-michigan.com. So it'll be a really long URL with your name, remax-michigan.com, and that'll be your website, like your actual website link, URL link, and the name of your website. Like I said, or you can change it to joesmithrealtor.com or however you want it, or, greaterlansingcondos.com or whatever, whichever ones aren't taken already. So, and then the last thing is, again, under here, you would click view website, and that's where it'll show you what your website currently looks like to the public. I also got questions about what is my URL for my website. Well, that's where you would go. When you log into Leadstreet, you go to the site builder and you would scroll down and click view website. And up here at the top in the search is your web link, http://cindybeckwith.homes or joesmithrealtor.com. And that's where you would find your URL link. So for the most part, that is an overview of Leadstreet, what each tab does. We've done home, the dashboard. We did leads. We went through listings. We went through our client database. And we went through our marketing, action plans, composing an email marketing, creating newsletters, sending out birthday emails that are already pre-created for you, and then just quickly reviewing your website and changing the styles and the fonts and the layouts. Does anyone have any questions, or like I said, you can type it in the chat, or anything that you want me to go over? Otherwise, that's really all I have for you right now. You know, as far as an overview of Leadstreet.